I never thought betrayal would come from the people I trusted most. But it did, and all for just $800, 0 cents. My name is Casey Lynn, and at 24, I'd built something that could change lives. A streamlined AI tool designed to help independent therapists manage sessions, progress notes, and client scheduling in one secure platform. But to my parents, I was still their overambitious daughter who should have gone to law school like my cousins. I remember the exact moment things collapsed. I was working out of a quiet co-working space in Portland, Oregon, sipping cold brew and debugging a final algorithm tweak, when my phone buzzed. It was my dad. "Casey, your little project came up during brunch," he said casually. "Colin Myers wants to take it off your hands." Colin Myers. Even hearing the name made me nauseous. He was the son of my mother's college roommate, a guy who dressed like he was pitching on Shark Tank even at breakfast. He'd tanked 2 apps already, but still strutted around town as some kind of visionary. To my parents, he was exactly what I wasn't: credible. He had investors, a Columbia MBA, and apparently a better grasp of business than me. "Dad, the platform isn't for sale," I said slowly. "I've got 8 practices lined up for the pilot launch next quarter." "Don't be dramatic," he scoffed. "You're not running a company. You're just tinkering with code. Colin can make it real." Just tinkering. I thought of every sleepless night I'd spent fixing bugs, every grant proposal I wrote, every rejection I turned into a lesson. "The IP is mine," I said firmly. "I'm not selling." But I was already too late. The following evening, they asked me to come by for family dinner. Colin was already there, smiling like the deal was done. And the worst part? My mom set a glass of wine in front of me and said, "Just sign the transfer, sweetheart. It's for the best." And my dad, he toasted to new beginnings without even looking at me. "Casey," my father said, sliding an envelope across the table, "we've decided to sell your app to Colin. He's offering $800, 0 cents. Generous, considering it's still in development." I blinked. Was this a prank? It wasn't. "You can't sell what isn't yours," I said, my voice tight with disbelief. "You don't own it." Colin cut in smoothly. "Casey, come on," he added like we were old friends. "Your dad mentioned your little project. It's a good idea, but you need someone with real experience to scale it, someone who understands the market." I looked at my mother, silently pleading for her to say something. She didn't. She just sipped her wine and gave Colin an approving nod. "He's right, honey. You're still young. Let someone more established take it from here." They didn't ask. They didn't care. They had no idea that my so-called project was already on track to sign a major B2B contract with a behavioral health network in California, that the AI engine I designed was outperforming industry benchmarks across 3 key metrics: time management, billing automation, and clinical compliance. To them, I was still a kid playing around with code. I pushed back my chair, the legs screeching against the tile floor. "You can't sell something you never built," I said, my tone steel. "I own the code. I filed the patent. The LLC is in my name." My father's face darkened. "Don't be ungrateful," he snapped. "Colin is offering you a real job, with a team, with benefits. He's trying to help." Grateful. That word burned. Grateful that they sold out my future for $800, 0 cents, and a handshake. I looked Colin in the eye. "Keep your job offer," I said, picking up my laptop bag. "And Colin, if you think I didn't secure my code base, I dare you to try." Then I walked out, not just of the room, but of the version of me they'd always tried to keep small. But I underestimated just how far they were willing to go. The next morning, I found out they had access to my old backup drive, the one I had used back when I first began coding in my tiny apartment. They had copied everything: early designs, half-baked prototypes, even old project files from when I was still figuring things out. Claiming parental support gave them the right to everything. Within days, Colin launched his new company. He had even used my old documents to file provisional patents, dragging my parents into false witness statements about timelines and progress. Local tech blogs were buzzing about the young visionary disrupting the wellness industry. And my parents? He couldn't stop smiling. But Colin made a catastrophic mistake. He thought what he had stolen was the core of the platform. What he didn't know was that the true algorithms, the beating heart of my system, were safely encrypted, hidden away in secure cloud storage far beyond his reach. I spent the next few days gathering everything I needed. Every line of real code, every contract with partners, every email thread where I'd outlined my real vision, and when I made my move, it would be catastrophic. I backed up every patent application, every source file, every agreement. Then I made one phone call to Maya Cheng, one of the most feared intellectual property lawyers in Silicon Valley, notorious for exposing and dismantling tech fraud. They really thought they could take your company for $800 0 cents? Maya said during our first meeting, flipping through my carefully organized evidence. They thought I was just a girl with a side project, I replied, maintaining my calm. Maya's expression sharpened as she smirked. Well, then, let's show them exactly what a girl with a side project can do. I didn't know it then, but that meeting set off a chain of events that would shake the tech world and completely unravel Colin Myers. Because true innovation doesn't come from copying code you don't even understand. It comes from knowing every line, every sequence, every heartbeat of your own creation. And I knew mine better than anyone. The next phase started with a text from an old college friend, Lena, who now worked in IT at Cascade Valley Health, one of the clinics lined up for my software pilot. Casey, you need to see this. Myers Tech just crashed hard during their demo. I grinned. I already knew what had happened. You see, I built a failsafe into the system. A deep layer authentication protocol that only activated during full-scale, real-time deployment. During demos or test environments, everything ran smoothly. But without my direct developer key, the moment the platform went live, it was designed to collapse. 2 weeks after Colin's stunt, he held a grand unveiling at Cascade Valley. The media showed up, angel investors packed the back row. My parents were there, front and center, practically glowing with pride. And I was there too, tucked into a back seat, wearing oversized glasses and a sleek black blazer, just watching. Colin strutted onto the stage like he'd written every line of code himself. Today, he boomed, Myers Tech redefines digital health. Then it started. First, it was a flicker. Then screens flashed red. Small glitches turned into full-scale failures. Error, primary authentication key missing. Developer ID required. See Lin. Colin froze. He fumbled with the keyboard, tried restarting, tried overriding the failsafe. Nothing worked. Each command triggered more damage. Unauthorized access detected. Contact Casey Lin for credential verification. The auditorium fell silent. Investors leaned in, whispering. The clinic staff exchanged looks. My parents turned pale. And Colin? He stood there, stripped of his illusion, realizing, far too late, he was never the genius in the room. He was just a thief who underestimated the quiet girl behind the code. And this was only the beginning. The room buzzed with whispers. Investors shifted uneasily in their chairs. Clinic directors exchanged sharp glances, my parents' expressions twisted, pride draining into bewilderment, as Colin mumbled some flimsy excuse about a technical hiccup. Then I stood up, calm, deliberate, and walked to the front of the room. Mr. Myers, I said clearly, my voice slicing through the tension like a blade. Are you having trouble operating my platform? Colin froze mid-sentence. His smugness collapsed into panic as I slowly removed my glasses. Maybe I can help, I continued, unbothered. After all, I built every single function of that system myself. Casey? My dad choked, rising halfway from his seat, his face turning a deep shade of crimson, somewhere between disbelief and fear. I didn't even look at him. Instead, I calmly pulled my laptop from my tote, walked to the projector, and plugged in. In under a minute, the crashing screens vanished, replaced by the fully operational interface I'd spent the last 3 years refining. The audience watched in stunned silence as I moved through the live demo. Real-time analytics, therapist load balancing, appointment projections. Modules Colin didn't even know existed. This, I said coolly to the room, is the real Cascade Logic system. The one Mr. Myers attempted to pass off as his own for $800, 0 cents. Gasps rippled across the rows. I wasn't done. I projected key evidence on the large display, time-stamped design files, signed contracts, registered source code entries, undeniable proof of authorship. And finally, I said, clicking open one last file, here's a cease and desist notice, followed by a federal lawsuit for IP theft. Colin lurched forward, face blotched with rage. She's making this up. Her parents gave me the rights. That's when Maya Chang, my attorney, stood from the front row, calm and devastating. She raised a folder. Your Honor, investors, press, I have signed statements confirming otherwise, including evidence of unauthorized system access and forgery. And just like that, the room belonged to me. Actually, they didn't, Maya said coolly, her tone sharp as a blade. Mrs. Lin's patents and copyrights were filed and approved well before your little scheme. She crossed her arms, expression unflinching. Would you care to explain how you acquired proprietary data belonging solely to Casey Lin? The room erupted into chaos. Investors bolted for the exits, phones glued to their ears as they canceled funding agreements in real time. Clinic directors huddled together, whispering urgently about liability and legal exposure. Journalists surged forward, snapping photos and hurling questions at Colin, who stood frozen in place, pale, trembling, completely unraveling. My mother rushed toward me, grabbing my arm tightly. Casey, how could you humiliate us like this? Colin was trying to help you. I gently pulled away. No, Mom. He was trying to steal from me. And you let him? Because you never once believed I was enough. My father fumbled for words. We just want to protect you. I met his eyes, steady. Protect me from what? From building something without you? He opened his mouth. You're just a girl? I finished calmly. This girl built a scalable healthcare platform already valued in the 7 figures. The same one your friend's son tried to swipe for less than the cost of a used phone. Then I turned to the crowd, still stunned, still watching. My name is Casey Lin. I'm the founder and CEO of Cascade Logic Systems, and under my leadership, we're already redefining digital care management across the Pacific Northwest. This is what innovation looks like when you don't overlook the one building it. The aftermath came fast, and it was ruthless for Colin Myers. His investors vanished overnight. His credibility in Portland's startup scene disintegrated. And with Maya leading the charge on an airtight IP theft case, he wasn't just disgraced, he was legally cornered. And me? I finally walked out of that room not as someone's daughter, but as the woman they never saw coming. As for my parents, they tried to revise the narrative. Suddenly, they were the ones who'd always been looking out for me. But the truth couldn't be undone. How could I ever trust the people who sold off my vision for less than a month's rent? 6 months later, I stood on a very different stage, this time as the keynote speaker at Cascade Logic's funding announcement. We had just closed a $50 million 0 cents Series A round. Our pilot results had exceeded even my boldest projections. A 48% reduction in patient intake delays, a 41% improvement in clinic resource utilization, and predictive accuracy for care demands that bordered on flawless. The auditorium exploded in applause. As I spoke, I spotted them, my parents, seated near the back row. Their expressions were a swirl of regret, pride, and something unspoken. They had started messaging me again, saying how proud they were, how they always believed I'd do something special. But their pride wasn't rooted in love. It was anchored to success. Success I had built not because of them, but in spite of them. After the event, they approached slower, smaller somehow. Casey, sweetheart, my mother said softly, eyes glossy with tears. We're sorry. We didn't mean. I raised my hand gently. I know you're sorry, I said. But being sorry because I proved you wrong isn't the same as believing in me before I did. My father stepped in, voice cracking. Can't we just move past this? We're family. I looked at them for a long moment. Family supports. Family doesn't sell your life's work to a stranger, I said quietly. You picked Colin because you couldn't imagine your own daughter being enough. I reached into my pocket and handed them each a sleek card. Not a business card, not exactly. Just 3 words printed cleanly across the front. Guest pass, back row. Then I walked away. If you want to meet with me, I said, pausing just long enough, you can schedule through my office, like any other business contact. As I turned and walked away, I heard my mother begin to cry softly behind me. A small part of me hesitated, wanted to look back, to extend grace, to pretend like everything could be mended. But I didn't, because I knew better. Sometimes success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you were right to believe, even when no one else did. Today, Cascade Logic Systems is transforming digital healthcare infrastructure across the country and quietly expanding into international partnerships. And Colin Myers? He's blacklisted across every major venture network on the West Coast. His name? Now a whispered warning. And that $800 0 cents check they once used to try and buy my entire company? I had it framed. It hangs directly behind my desk at Cascade Logic HQ. A reminder, not of spite, but of truth. Your worth is never defined by someone else's price tag. It's defined by what you know you can create and defend, even when the world tells you to sit down and stay small. There will always be people who underestimate you. People who mock your ambition, question your skills, or try to claim credit for your vision. But if you protect what's yours, fiercely, relentlessly, then success won't just be sweet. It will be unshakable. So the next time someone tells you you're just a girl or just anything at all, remember this. The people who dismiss you are not your metric. Only you decide your value. As for my parents, they still send the occasional message. Talk of forgiveness, rebuilding, family dinners. Maybe one day we'll reconnect. But if we do, it won't be on the terms they once tried to force on me. It'll be on mine. Always mine. It'll be on my terms, not as the underestimated daughter they once dismissed, but as the woman who proved them all wrong. Because I'm not just a girl behind a keyboard anymore. I'm Casey Lynn, founder and CEO of a company that's reshaping the landscape of digital healthcare across the US and beyond. And no one, not Colin, not my parents, not anyone, will ever take that from me again. If any part of my story resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below, share your story, your setbacks, or the aha moment you chose to believe in yourself. Every word of support reminds me why standing firm matters. It wasn't easy walking away from the people who were supposed to believe in me first. But I chose myself. And if you ever find yourself in a similar place, I hope you choose you too. Trust your vision, protect your work, and never let anyone, even family, tell you what you're worth. You're not just anything. You are powerful. You are capable. You are enough. And I'm rooting for you the same way I learned to root for myself.